Hi YouTube, this is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Okay, so today we have got a very exciting and very long video. I need a Christmas present for a buddy of mine. I'm not too big on the whole gift giving, thing for Christmas, but, some folks you just do it with, and that's the way it is. So anyway, so I needed a gift for this buddy for Christmas, and, honestly, I was having a tough time coming up with something. And so I thought to myself, I said, Self, you know what? He needs to learn how to shave with a straight razor. And that also means that he needed a straight razor, he needed a strop. I'm pretty sure I've already given him a stone years past. If not, well then, I guess I'll give him an Amazon link to get one. Because guys need to shave, right? Especially, if we wear masks, which we do for work. I used to work with this fella. Anyway, so what I've got today is we have got a brand new gold dollar, I think these are 6/8 full hollow straight razors. I bought a couple of these just to keep on hand here in the shop for situations like this, or if I needed to do a honing video, which we're going to kind of combine the whole thing all together. So this is going to be taking a look at this razor up underneath the microscope, the way it comes as boxed. We're going to hone the thing up on the King 1/6 Waterstone. It's the KW65. I don't normally put that in the videos because I always forget, but this is the KW65, which is the older stone. Apparently they have a new one. I can't remember what they call it, but it's for newer, harder steels. This thing right here has cut everything that I've put onto it. So I really haven't tried the new one. And then we have got a kind of sort of an unboxing. Besides your straight razor, your next important thing is your strop. The stone, you use a stone every, year or so, to kind of reset the edge. But you use your strop for your daily maintenance with that straight razor. So, we have got a new strop that I got from Amazon. Ordered it up just for him. The strop that I use, I got it from Lynn Thompson, maybe was his name, at Straight Razor. I think his outfit was called Straight Razor Place. It was a straight razor, or actually just a shaving store, web store. I guess he had a brick and mortar one also. And that strop is really, really nice. It's English bridle, leather on one side and then linen on the other side. Really nice hardware, 3 inches wide. I can't remember how long, but it was like a $100 strop, which, it's a really nice strop, and I'm glad I have it. I'm glad I spent the money on it, but not everybody wants to throw down $100 for a strop. So this one was like $34 on Amazon, and it is a Illinois Razor Strop Company, Chicago, number 127. We're going to leave it in the plastic until we're ready to get to it, because here in the shop things are dirty. We don't want to expose it to the shop as much as we can. And then we are going to use Maggard Razors chromium oxide. 0.5 micron is what it says. I had already, somewhere in my head, I always thought that this stuff was 30,000 grit. One of my subscribers commented something on one of my last videos, and I went back and I looked, and 0.5 micron is actually 60,000 grit. So 30,000, 60,000, it's really fine stuff. Okay, and this stuff just comes as a paste, and I'll show you how to put it on the back side of the linen side of the strop here in a second. Okay, so what we're going to need to do first is take a look at this gold dollar straight razor. These are sold on Amazon at depends on when and where you get them, 10 to like 15 bucks, something like that. The hardcore straight razor guys, they talk down on these all the time, but honestly, the one that I have, or the other one that I have, the one that I honed, I've shaved with it, I don't know, a couple dozen times, and, it's a nice razor, the scales are plastic and everything, the grinds sometimes are a little bit wonky. It's you know, but it's not a bad razor. I mean, you just shave your face with it, right? So we're going to look at the edge underneath the microscope before we get to honing it, just so you can see how it comes as boxed, and then we will go ahead and hone the thing up. So here is our newfangled stand. Oh, the stand is the Game of Thrones series. So we're going to have the Game of Thrones crew hold up the camera. Okay, so as a reference, there is the, let's go for the G. There is the G on the gold dollar. Okay, so in you know, that G is about that tall on the side of the razor. So let's look at the edge here. All right, so this is the the toe of the razor, and you can see we've got a little bit of a burr, a little bit of you know, chipping going on here. You know, like I said, they sell these things for, you know, $10 to $20 retail, which means that the gold dollar company, you know, is probably selling these wholesale for, you know, like $2 or so. You know, so it's not like they can really afford to spend a whole lot of time on, you know, hand honing these things. But, you know, I mean, the bevel looks fairly, well, it looks buffed is what it does, because see, you can't really see. This right here is your this is your blade finish, and then this is your edge finish, and then this right here is the shoulder in between the two. So honestly, that looks like they just threw it on a buffer right quick. You know, but it's really not in bad shape. I mean, yeah, there's a couple of, that looks like a dent or a roll. And then there's the heel. You can tell you got the, this is part of the stabilizer. These are a full hollow grind, so they have to have a little bit of a stabilizer at the back to kind of keep the edge stable. Okay, so let's get you up here. First off, I guess let's see if it'll take hair off my arm, which it probably should. Scrape shaving really is all it's doing. Yeah, it's taken a couple of hairs, but not really a whole lot. That side it's taking some more, which means that we've probably got a little bit of a burr on there, but that's okay. So what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead, first of all, we take our high-tech stone stand. So we take a paper towel and we wet it down. Actually, we'll just use a stone because it's got lots of water on it. And we wet it down, and then we put our 2x4 on top. That way it doesn't want to move quite as much. We put another paper towel on top of that, and then we put our stone on top of that. Okay? That way everything, you know, doesn't really move a whole lot when we find a spot on my wore out bench that doesn't rock all that much. So this is the 1000 grit side. We are going to go ahead and hone until we get a burr. We're not using tape. You could, you know, tape the spine if you know, were really concerned with spine wear marks and everything, but you know, honestly, that's just something. I mean, if this was like a 100-year-old razor, or you know, a custom razor, or you know, your grandfather's razor or something like that, you know, yeah, you might tape up the spine, you might take a little bit more care in honing it, but let's face it, guys, this is a $10 to $20 razor that we're going to use to shave our face with, you know, and then give to a buddy so that he can shave his face with. So it's not really that big a deal. So what we're going to do is just raise a burr on one side. Now this stone is, you know, wide and just slightly less wide than the blade is. Okay, so if we just put it at an angle, we can get the whole edge all at the same time. what I'm doing here is I've got this, I'm just laying the razor flat on the stone, okay, so the edge and the spine contact at the same time. Now my thumb, what you can't see is that my thumb is really laying pressure on, the amount of pressure that I'm laying on here is really on the underside of the tang, and what that's doing is it's torquing that razor into the edge. So I'm really using, the spine is contacting the stone, but most of the abrasion is happening on the edge. All right. And now, as thin as this is, it really shouldn't take a whole lot of time on a 1000 grit side until we pick up a burr. I'm also kind of rocking the razor a little bit. So this thumb is putting pressure on this side of the tang, which is torquing the edge in here so that the edge is getting abraded. The spine is basically just kind of skipping along the surface of the stone, but I'm also kind of torquing it this way a little bit, okay? So I'll go a little bit here towards the heel and then kind of torque it a little bit towards the toe. And what that does is it, kind of evens out your grinding pressure. If you didn't do that, then you would grind your heel away long before you'd grind your toe. The toe being the point of the razor, if the razor had a point, and the heel being the end of the razor nearest your thumb or the handle. Okay, so now I have a burr across the middle here. It's a real light one. It's up in the toe section. I need a little bit more work towards the heel. I know you guys can't feel that, but I can, and we'll stick it up underneath the scope here in a second. Okay, there, we have got a light 1000 grit burr on the entire length of the edge. So let's move you over. Okay, so this here is the side that I was honing on, and you can see how that edge bevel comes all the way down to the edge. Right here at the heel, I guess it'd help if I'd quit moving my hand. Okay, so these here are our sharpening marks. This here is what's left of the factory edge. Okay, so right up in here we might do another 10-15 strokes or so to clean that up. But all the factory grind marks are gone that I'm seeing. And that's really what we're after. By raising a burr on either side, pretty much what you're doing is correcting any inconsistencies in the grind and in the factory edge. So that the next time that we hone this razor, the next time that we put it to a stone, here in 6 months or a year or whenever, now see this right here, you can really see that burr is starting to kind of let loose. Okay, so our grind marks go clear to the edge, but yet you still got a little bit of ribbon of steel right there holding up. Can you guys see that? Maybe I need to make that a little bit bigger. No, it won't quite go down enough. There we go. There's a big section of it right there. Right here. See that? That's a little bit of ribbon of, that's the burr right there that's just barely hanging on already. Okay? So what we need to do is come back, work in that little spot on the heel, way back here, That little spot on the heel way back here. We need to clean this up and then switch to the other side. We might have to hurry here because well, this just might be a little bit longer video. Okay, so we're gonna, you don't need to see me, you need to see the stone. So I need to work here at the heel. Okay, now I can just, well, with the naked eye, I can just see a little bit left of it. Now, so like I was saying, you know, this right here, where you raise a burr on the 1000 grit side, is really kind of a one-time deal. You know, I mean, unless you, unless you go 5 years without, you know, ever touching this to a stone again, and you really, really seriously round off the edge on a strop, or if you don't keep your strop taut, you know, if you leave it way too loose to where, you know, you're really stropping it, like, you know, stropping it on something like this instead of something that's fairly taut, and you really, really round over that edge, you know, about the first time is about the only time that you'll need to go, you know, to a burr on a 1000 grit stone. And we've just got that one spot that's kind of giving us some grief right there. Almost. I mean, I can just see it just barely hanging on there just with the naked eye. Now, one thing with these full hollow razors like this, if you put, you just need to put enough pressure on the razor, or put enough pressure on the razor onto the stone to where that the stone will cut, okay? If you start putting too much pressure on there, then the edge will actually flex away from the stone and you'll start grinding farther in, you know, on the side of the blade instead of on the edge. Okay, we are there. All right, now we'll go on the other side. We'll go ahead and rinse our stone off right quick. Maybe flip it around. Now that first couple of strokes, you can kind of hear kind of a gritty, nasty sound. And what that is it's part of the burr, you know, that you just raised getting ground off. It's any inconsistencies in the spine. And see, now it's settling down and sounding real nice again. And this part here is the part that takes the longest, is getting your burrs going. Now we've got it up here, it's pretty light, and we don't have it down at the heel again still. So we'll put a little bit more pressure at the heel. That feels good. There's a little bit of section up here at the toe. A little more at the heel there. Okay, now that feels mighty good. There's a section right in here that's not quite even. So we'll see what that looks like underneath the scope. Okay. See how our grind marks go clear to the edge? Now see how they're varying in width too. Right here at the heel, they're quite a bit wider than they are just in here. That's what we refer to as kind of a wonky grind, which, like I said, I mean, honestly, it's really kind of amazing that they can get this close, you know, on a $10 to a $15 or $20 razor. Now up in here you can kind of see, now that's just kind of the way the light is reflecting, but you can still see now it's a real narrow edge bevel here. But it's clean, and that's, honestly, that's about all we care about. And there's a little bit. No, we got it. We got it all the way there. Okay. So now what let's move you over. So now what we've done here is we've completely reground the edge, okay, and we've reground the edge by hand on a stone to where it is in line with the grind marks that we put on the you know, the spine of the razor. Okay, so now the next time my buddy goes to, you know, to hone this thing, which he's into knives, but he's not like a knife maker type into knives, okay, so you know, now he won't have to worry about kind of twisting the blade this way or twisting the blade that way, or, you know, doing funky strokes, you know, to be able to compensate for, you know, the spine not being in line with the edge. Now he can just put it on the stone, hone it, you know, hone it up, put it back on the strop, and then get back on with it. All right, so now what we do is we go ahead and we refine that 1000 grit burr with stone stropping on the 1000 grit side of the stone. Okay, and what that does is it really maxes out this 1000 grit side and sets us up to where we don't really have to do a whole lot of work at all on our 6000 grit side. So you can do whatever stroke here you want. I mean, if you're used to stropping knives and you want to go like this, that's fine. Okay, if you want to strop like it's on your strop and go backwards, you know, that's fine too. I mean, all we're doing is, you know, cleaning up that burr. Okay, and that's about all we're going to need. So now we will go ahead and go to the 6000 grit side. Now here, you can just go to stone stropping, okay, or you can go ahead and cut, you know, a new burr either way. I find it's a little bit more consistent to cut in a new burr on both sides. Now the 6000 grit burr, well, the burr that's created on a 6000 grit stone is going to be a 6000 grit burr, okay? So that burr is going to be much finer when you feel it than a 1000 grit burr, okay? Because it's quite a bit finer. Quite a bit finer as in smaller. All right, now that's pretty much all we're going to have to do on that side. You can already see with the naked eye that we're starting to bring up a mirror finish on that edge bevel. Okay, so now we'll go on the other side. And this doesn't take long because we're not really grinding anymore. All we're doing is taking that 1000 grit edge and turn it into a 6000 grit edge. Okay, so I've got a good burr on here on both sides, so now I'm going to go ahead and clean my stone off, and then I'm going to stone strop. Maybe, I don't know, half a dozen or a dozen strokes on each side. Okay, now that bevel looks really nice just by the naked eye. We'll see if we got enough battery in our camera left. Okay, now see how there's just a couple of little bitty glints here of light hanging on at the edge? That's all that's left of our burr, okay? I mean, folks really make a real big deal out of the whole, you know, burrs being tough to remove. Now there's a little bit right there at the heel that we missed of that, which that's okay. We're not even going to go back and fix that. Okay, but the burr is, when you get right down to it, see these glints? That's all that's left of that burr. I mean, a 6,000 grit burr is very, very small, okay? And most steel really can't support a 6,000 grit burr. I mean, it comes off of the edge like powder, okay? That's just a little bit of water on the, yeah, that's just water droplets right there on the edge. Yeah, everything's looking pretty dang good here. Here's a little bit of a low spot, but not bad at all, and a lot of that's probably water. Oh, and it's up there around the toe. We'll just give it a couple of more stone strops, and then we'll go to the strop. So what I was saying is that, you know, most steels have a real hard time maintaining or holding on to a 6,000 grit burr. I mean, once you get to a 6,000 grit burr, I mean, it is so fine. My fingertips, I mean, I can feel a 6,000 grit burr pretty consistently, but the second I go to like an 8 or a 10,000 grit burr, you know, it's one of those things that my fingertips really can't feel it consistently. Some days I can, some days, most days I can't. Well, when you figure that your fingertips can typically feel stuff down into the, you know, 1/2 thousandths of an inch diameter, I mean, that's pretty dang fine. Okay, so we are done with the stone. Now we need to go to the strop. And this is just going to be a longer video. Okay, actually I need to grab some newspaper. We're going to need another piece. Well, we'll just use this piece. You guys have seen my bench. I mean, it's a working bench, so it's pretty nasty as far as the amount of trash that's in the surface of this bench. Okay, so now we take a look at this strop. First off, it came in a long cardboard box, okay, so it didn't get you know, bent up or anything in shipping, so it's nice and flat. The leather is pretty smooth. It says top grain cowhide, leather made in the USA, and the leather's pretty dang smooth. I mean, it's not like my bridle strop, but honestly I don't believe it has to be. It's got some fairly nice stitched handles on it. The brass hardware, it's kind of the clamp type of design, so you loosen this up and then you can replace the individual components if you wanted to. This hook right here isn't quite as strong as it is on my other strop, but you know, I mean, this is a strop, not a sanding belt, okay? So you really shouldn't be putting enough force on it to stress even that small of a hook. The the linen looks really nice, and it's nice and white so that you can see, you know, see when it gets dirty. Okay, so our first step on this strop to getting it ready to use is to take a piece of paracord and clip it into this little clippy thing. Okay, now we got something to actually, you know, we can wrap it around stuff. The second thing we're going to need to do is we're going to need to take this chromium oxide and put it on the inside of the linen. Now, I have been accused of using too much of this stuff, and I'm okay with that, all right? I mean, I've heard that you need a toothpick amount, which, if a toothpick amount is good, then a finger dab is more better, right? I mean, the stuff is pretty dang cheap. I mean, I think that that container there, which is weighs 20 grams. I mean, I'd guess there's probably, you know, a ½ ounce in there or so. So now we're just going to make a line of this, make another line of this up here, make another line of this down here, and kind of rub it in and kind of get it spread out about as even as we can. Okay, now, and we got this wet paper towel here to get rid of the rest of it. Okay, now, you guys have seen me strop before, so we will do this over here. Let's move that box out of the way. Get that over there, get this over here. And we'll bring you over to about, like, you can say hi to Doc. Oh, that's clear. Okay, so, let's see, where's my... Alright, so we're just going to go ahead and loop the strop over this and then strop it. Okay, so I like to take this and go like that, and that way you've got kind of a double slip knot. And we'll slip it over anything that's handy, right? Now, to use the chromium oxide, I take the strop, or the leather side, pick it up, and then stick it in between the loops of that paracord, okay? So that way the strop it doesn't want to twist as much, okay? So now we go ahead, you see that? Yeah, you can. Okay, now we go ahead and we'll do 10 licks on each side. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay? If you really want to, before you go to your chromium oxide, you can palm strop to get rid of any you know, metal shavings or anything from the burr. Let's kind of tilt that up right over. I've got a pile of wood shavings here from fitting up handles that I don't want to get that strop into. So now when you do this the first couple of times on that strop, you're going to get chromium oxide kind of all over the place. So let's go ahead and palm strop it a couple of times to get rid of the majority of that chromium oxide so that we don't get it into the clean side of our linen. Now we go to the clean side of our linen. Okay, we'll do 15 strokes-ish. What's that, 3, 4, 'That's about 15. Now we'll go to the leather side. You know, that's not bad feeling for the leather. I suppose we should try to stay away from the printed section. And it's a 2.5 inch wide strop. So it's, you know, it's plenty wide. Pretty much you start off up here and then you go to the toe. Start at the heel, go to the toe. Start at the heel, go to the toe. Okay, now let's set that down in there where it won't get dirty. Look look at our edge one final time. Now look at that. Isn't that a pretty looking edge? What you're seeing here, you're seeing kind of more glints of light, sort of. What that is that strop, since it's a soft material instead of a stone, even if you're holding it taut, there's still a little bit of give. So what this is a little bit of rounding off of the edge. Anytime you strop something, even if you were to take your strop and put it on a tabletop and strop along on top of that, you will still round your edge over. It's just the name of the game. With a straight razor, that's what we're after. Okay, but look at that edge. I mean, there's a couple of little bitty, spots in it, but it's nice and smooth, it's nice and burr-free. That's going to be an entirely serviceable shaving edge. Okay, so now let's go ahead. We're at 36 minutes. Let's get a quick shave in. Now this might be the first time I've ever shaved in this bathroom with this setup. So, oh, and you know what? I totally should have started the water running before a little while ago, because this comes all the way from the house. So even though it's hot water, it takes about a minute and a half or so to get the hot water here. But honestly, I hadn't shaved in like, I don't know, a week or so. And it's to that itchy phase, and oh my God, it's just going to feel good to get it off. Okay, so what we're going to use here is Parasso, the sandalwood. Okay, you can get this on Amazon, or you can get it from Maggard's when you order up some of the chromium oxide. And you can do the brush, or you can just do the whole finger method. Now remember, you're seeing me, but I'm looking at a mirror that's kind of sitting behind you, and I can't really see all that well, so okay, so we got that stropped edge. I typically like to palm strop it a little bit right before I go to do my shave. And this isn't the best beard prep in the world, but it'll work. That's one of, even if I didn't make straight razors, and even if I wasn't into sharpening and even if I wasn't into all of that stuff, I would still use a straight razor, because I don't shave every day. You can tell I didn't prep my beard very well. I don't shave every day. Honestly, I don't have anybody that I need to impress that much like that. About the only thing that I need to really impress with my shaving ability is my grinding mask. Because if you don't shave on a fairly regular basis, your mask won't get a good seal. Now see, that right there was some really hard hair that I didn't get wet enough. You know, I'm not talking about the you know, the little disposable dust masks that everybody's wearing right now. You know, I'm talking about my half face. You know, it's got a rubber mouthpiece and actually creates a seal around my face with cartridges and everything. You know, those things need a pretty good, mostly hair-free surface to get a good seal, otherwise they don't work. Long time ago when I worked at the chemical plant, we were required to stay mostly clean shaven just because our chemical masks, if you had more than about 2 or 3 days worth of growth, they wouldn't seal. And boy, let me tell you, if you have never been in a cloud of ammonia with a mask that didn't seal up very well, that sucks. Okay, now, as soon as I turn the camera off, I'm probably going to go ahead and take another pass just because, you know, I mean, with the full mirror so I can see. That and the hot water finally got over here. But, you know, I mean, that's... you know, for just splashing some cold water on my beard and having at it with a mirror and not being able to see all that well, you know, that was an entirely serviceable shave. And more than likely, I won't really get a whole lot when I take a cleanup pass here in a couple of minutes. So, so yeah, that's about it. I mean, you know, gold dollar from out of the box, completely set the new, you know, regrind the edge and, you know, match the spine to the edge on a 1000 grit king stone. The king stone is, I don't know, $28 shipped on Amazon. I think the last time I saw these, they were $15.99 or $16.99 for the razor on Amazon. That strop, I think it was $34. When you get around to it, you know, I mean, if you were to get all that stuff, when you got around to ordering some of the chromium oxide from Maggards, I want to say that this thing right here was like $8 last time I ordered it. And that'll last you, honestly, I mean, for a decade or two, you know, maybe even more. And then, you know, pretty much any shaving soap that you have. I mean, I like the smell of that Parasso sandalwood or the Parasso green. But, you know, you could use canned Barbasol or you know, the Gillette gel or anything like that if you wanted to. I mean, shaving. I mean, you know, the soap, honestly, I don't really see that it matters all that much. You know, there are some guys that tell you that you know, all that's really, really important. I think maybe they might have like really sensitive skin, or they might be going for, you know, that, hey, I've got to go to the office and, you know, I've got a desk job and I've really got to be presentable. You know, I'm just kind of a, you know, a knife maker. So like I said, the only thing I'm trying to impress is to get a good seal on my mask while I'm grinding so that I don't breathe a whole bunch of wood and metal dust. But anyway, so so that's now, from now on with that straight razor, okay, because I've been told that I forget to talk about this, you know, in my other straight razor honing videos. We reset the bevel on this, okay? So go ahead and shave with this, strop it just on the linen and leather. When I get done shaving, I'm going to give this about 10 passes on each side on the linen, and then that's it. And then I'll, you know, well, no, it's going to my buddy. So I'll do 10 passes on linen, and then probably 20 passes on leather, and then that way it's ready to go right out of the box. He can pull it out and he can shave with it. Typically, after a shave, I'll do 10 passes on linen and then store it outside the bathroom. Okay, so in a closet or on your dresser or wherever moisture won't get to it, because your moisture will attack that edge and it can ruin your edge, you know, just from sitting there. All right, so store it outside the bathroom. When you go to shave next time, you know, get your beard all, you know, prepped, you know, either right out of the shower or the hot towel, you know, to soften up your, you know, the hair in your beard. Do 10 more licks on your linen, and then 20 licks or so on the leather, and then go ahead and shave. When you're done shaving, you know, 10 laps on the linen. Now, so all this thing should touch on a regular basis is linen and leather and your face. Your palm, if you want a palm strop, okay? Once, you know, your edge is starting to get a little bit worn and it's starting to tug on a properly prepared beard, okay, then go ahead and pull out your strop and then take 5 licks on each side with your chromium oxide, okay? 5 licks on each side with that, and then 10 on the linen, and then 20 on the leather. And then that should put you back in good shape for another, you know, 20 shaves or so. Once you can strop it on your chromium oxide strop, 5 or 10 licks, and it doesn't bring that edge back, what that means is that your edge is now too rounded, okay? It's kind of like a number 2 pencil that you've written with, and you just, you know, I mean, it's the edge is worn down. I mean, it's completely rounded. Now you need to put that back to your 6,000 grit stone and take those shoulders off, okay? You don't need to completely reset the edge on the 1,000 grit side. You can go just on the 6,000 grit side, and the idea there is just to knock them shoulders back, okay? Once you get them shoulders back, then your chromium oxide on your strop will round the very tip of it and give you a new edge, okay? You keep doing that for, now this part I haven't gotten to yet. I've got one razor in my collection that I've been shaving with once a week. It'll be 4 years come February since that razor has touched a stone. And once a week, so 52 weeks a year, so that'll be, you know, roughly 200 shaves into that straight razor. Probably in February I'll go ahead and break it out and do a honing video again, and, you know, put it on a stone and just see how bad it was. But it's still shaving my face once a week. So something like this, you know, I mean, it just depends. I mean, if you shave every day or you shave 5 days a week, why then you'll have to get it to a stone a little bit more often. If you shave once a week like I do, you know, heck, you might be able to get away with putting it on a stone every 4 years or so. You know, it just kind of depends. So anyway, so that's how inexpensive you can get into straight razor shaving. That's how you take one right out of the box and go from right out of the box to shaving your face. So again, I hope you enjoyed the video. This is Joe Calton with Calton Cutlery. You can visit me on the web, caltoncutlery.com. Hope you enjoyed the video. If you're not shaving with a straight razor yet, they're an awful lot of fun. And we will see you next time.